The Facebook user experience, is it going downhill? Is your experience been bad? Are you seeing the same boring stuff in your feeds all the time? And you make one little comment and next thing you know, you're labeled. Hey everybody, what's up? What's going on? Dennis Schiraldi, founder of DOYOLive Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference, coming to you live today. Hanging, chilling on a Hip Hop Friday. Super stoked to be with you. Got some big announcements that I've got to make today about a venue selection, the new home of DOYOLive. And it's not just about the announcement, but I got a little bit of a backstory to tell you about that whole decision. I want to talk a little bit about Facebook and what is your current state of the world and opinion and view. I've got a love-hate relationship, like Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing. Love, hate, and they're always in conflict with one another. I want to talk about the March Madness Bracketology Bracket Challenge that we are giving away, a $2,500 sponsorship that's coming this month as well. That contest is actually being sponsored by our Kashmiri and Associates, a healthcare benefits provider. So we're super stoked to have them on board. Deanna, Joanna, Adriana. Man, they all end in A's. What's up, ladies? Thanks for dropping by today. So much appreciated. Deanna Facillo, a DOYOLive Advisory Board member, a two-time participant. I don't want to say participant passively, an active participant in DOYOLive as a breakout session leader in year 1 and a workshop leader in year 2, coming back not only as an advisory board member, but also a member of, we'll be running a workshop at this year's conference as well. Is in Chicago this week, speaking at a digital marketing conference. That's right, Youngstown, spreading our wings. Headed out to Chicago and gave two talks, actually, in the Windy City. So we're lucky to have her on board. Dr. Mike, I'm going to tease this a little bit, but it was a great audition that you gave on the DOYOLive platform. Maybe we'll just start there for a moment. So next week, what you're going to see from DOYOLive is that we're going to announce our breakout session leaders and our keynote. I am super stoked about this. We had over 60 people submit to be a breakout session leader at DOYOLive in 2018. The most difficult part of my job is getting together with the advisory board. So I don't solely make this decision based upon me. It's not all on these shoulders. And we put together what we feel is going to be a compelling content. What differentiates us from a lot of conferences out there is that we have university professors that set curriculum for a living that help us with those decisions, along with people that are in the day-to-day, in the trenches, in the process of doing marketing, both from a business perspective, a brand, and an agency. So we've got a nice mixture of people. And with 60 people that submit and only 9 getting in, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but that's like 40 people, 45, 49 people, actually it's 51, that don't get in. And the most difficult part of my job is informing those individuals that put themselves out there, that are super talented in their own right. And, unfortunately, they're just maybe not the best fit this year for the program that we're putting together. And look, at the end of the day, I submit to conferences all the time. And with the selection of people that we've got this year coming to DOYOLive, I would submit to my own conference and likely not get in. We have some very big brands in the marketing technology space that are going to be at DOYOLive, which is super exciting. These brands are very recognizable. I'm just teasing that for next week, so drop by next week. But this week, got an interesting story to tell. So a few years ago, actually going back to the inception of DOYOLive, when this all started to come together in my mind, that we wanted to do a marketing conference in Youngstown, Ohio, and I took the business plan out of the desk and put it back in, and the OCD would kick in, and it would be bothering me that I personally wasn't doing this, and I'd walk around town and I would talk with different people, meeting up with them to see if they'd want to partner up for DOYOLive. And they thought it was a good, interesting, neat idea, and they would support it in any way they can, but they no way wanted to partner in the business. It was a couple things that happened. Number one, I was speaking at the Mayo Clinic Social Media Healthcare Summit in Rochester, Minnesota. And if you've ever been to Rochester, obviously Mayo Clinic, top 5 healthcare organizations in the world, top 10, right? Not easy to get to. I was sitting in the basement of a hotel, a Marriott in Rochester, Minnesota, at the Mayo Clinic Social Media Healthcare Summit speaking. And it was at that point that I went to go home that evening, and I was put on a plane, or actually I was put on a bus that we got bussed up from Rochester to Minneapolis. And the delays in flights, I poured myself in the bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up the next day just kind of mad about the fact that, like, I had to travel all the way out to Rochester, Minnesota to get access to great content at a conference. And that I woke up, I went to LinkedIn, put the smart guy marketing hat on, realized that we had like 350,000 people within a 65-mile radius within a 65-mile radius of Youngstown, Ohio, which is super cool. Like, all these marketing people, not counting business owners, not counting salespeople, not counting designers. So I knew that we had the critical mass. I knew that we had people that had expertise in our own community that could present. And so I started to put together the plans, like to really execute on the foundation of DOYOLive. The actual name came from, this is probably going back to when we lived in Columbus, Ohio, around 2000, I think 7 or 8. The memory's a little bit fuzzy, but a family member of mine was going to graduate school at Ohio State, and my wife and I lived in the downtown Columbus neighborhood near campus, and he would stop over all the time and get a warm meal, get some clothes washed, and we would even get some sanity, and I'd sneak out and we'd go grab a beer at a pub around the corner, and we would talk about all the great things that were going on in Youngstown, Ohio with redevelopment, revitalization, the things that we wanted to do eventually when we got back to Youngstown, Ohio. And he started throwing around the term "Do Youngstown, do yo," and as much controversy is over the name DOYO or DOYO, that's where it really the genesis, over a decade ago. At this point, it's really crazy to think that it's probably around 8 years ago, around the time of my firstborn, that a family member and I were sitting on a bar stool in Columbus, Ohio, talking about DOYO. And just as a name, we didn't know that there was actually going to be an event behind that. Beth, thank you for dropping by. Beth of TBG Digital will be doing a deep dive workshop at DOYOLive. We're gonna add that, and she's also part of the advisory board that's helped to make the selection. If you're watching this now and you can share this with everybody, I want to finish the story about how we came to where we're at, and we'll get a few more people going here. Stephanie, thank you for dropping by. It's always good to see a neighbor. I'm going to get you back on the DOYOLive Marketing Show. In any case, so we come up with the name, we come up with the concept, all these ideas percolating around, and I started to tour facilities in and around Youngstown, Ohio. I teach at Youngstown State University, or actually I did part-time, and knew that the Williamson College of Business was an amazing venue. I spoke at TEDx Youngstown in year 1 and saw that the open airness of that. I saw that the open airness of the venue was really cool architecturally, and then also they have a great 200-seat amphitheater. But the key word in that is 200 seats. So we're limited because of the fact that we can only pack 200 people into that arena. And last year, if you came to the conference, we sold it out for 2 years in a row, and we had standing room only. We had close to 300 people that were basically at the conference, and probably packed about 250, 275 in that room for the keynotes and whatnot. So we're out of space, we're out of room. And then also the fact that we've always wanted and pictured in my mind this big forehead, this big thing going on up here, was we want to do Youngstown. We want to make sure that we're incorporating businesses and brands and restaurants, and just really make sure that we're showing off our city. So at that time, I had toured a number of facilities. The Covelli's obviously just way too big for us, and it doesn't set up well for a conference. And so we're kind of limited on space, and I think that there's some infrastructure that's downtown. So that's when I got the big idea to go to the DeYor, DeYor obviously Performing Arts Center. And I had not really been in Crystals, where they have the glass facade and the historical perspective of the Stanbaugh side or the Powers side. Is it Powers or Stanbaugh? I should know this. It's Powers, right? So they have the historic Art Deco side of the DeYor Performing Arts Center, which is the huge couple thousand seat playhouse type of place where the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra plays. But on the other side, they built this beautiful amphitheater, and it's just one of the coolest rooms. Like, it's the Ford Amphitheater, and when you walk in, it has this great modern-looking kind of neoclassic wooden stage with the wooden backdrop, and it arches its way up. It's a very intimate 600-seat, I would call it, venue. And when I immediately walked in there, lights were off, the lights flickered on. I knew, like, over 3 years ago, the day that I walked in there, and Leslie Grishaw actually is the coordinator, the manager for booking the facility, gave me that tour over 3 years ago. I saw it and fell in love with it and just really envisioned at that point, even before DOYO was even a website, that we wanted to have the marketing conference there, but we just weren't obviously big enough. People, it's a startup conference. There's things that come along with that logistically and financially. And we finally got to the point this year where Leslie's never gotten tired of me calling her. We've always had the DeYor on backup in the event that, DOYOLive sold 600 tickets at the last minute. And so with 300 people coming last year to the venue, and all signs pointing towards the growth of the conference, we officially today, for those of you that are obviously on this, now you have the backstory. It's been a long time coming. It's been a marathon, and I hopefully that inspires you, like, to know that, like, something is just not something batting around, like you could just go grab it in this world of instant gratification that we all live in today. That it's been over a 3-year journey to get to this point, to say finally that we are hosting DOYOLive in 2018, our Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference. We're officially going to do Youngstown. We're going to the DeYor at the Performing Arts Center on August 1st and 2nd, and there you have it. That's our big announcement for the week, so check that out. It took me, I don't know how many minutes did it take me to get there to say, but we got there. Isn't that going to be confusing, by the way? The DOYO at the DeYor. People already get confused over DOYO and DOYO and the DOYO. Now we're going to say the DOYO at the DeYor. Anyway, all right, so we got that announcement. The next thing I want to see is we have a number of people that are on. I'd love to hear some comments about what your current experience looks like on Facebook. I have to tell you that my love-hate relationship ebbs and flows, because I feel like we have built, obviously, a following through the platform with our Facebook Lives and our live shows, and we've rotated these around. And they've been a very good thing from a business and a marketing perspective, but I'm even talking from a personal perspective. So let me kind of set the stage. I was with somebody that I'm working with, Integrated IT Group, who's actually a year-long sponsor of DOYOLive, and we're working with them on some content marketing strategies. And one of their partners said to me last week in a meeting, he said, what's interesting about Facebook and the way that they're showing you content, and he was so spot on. He's like, here's the real life analogy. He's like, if you went to breakfast and you ordered bacon with your eggs and your toast and your hash browns, and they brought you out your plate of food, then naturally at lunch, when you go to lunch, the waitress or the waiter would say to you, hey, you had bacon for breakfast. Can we offer you some form of bacon for lunch? Like, we have BLTs on the menu. So much for variety, right? It's because now there's a trend. You liked, shared, commented, interacted, and engaged with something. So now Facebook automatically thinks, oh, they must like bacon. So in real life, at lunch, the waitress or the waiter would say, hey, do you want a BLT? And then when you move out throughout your day, come dinner time, it would either be bacon, or it would be ham, or it would be a pork chop, or it would be ribs, or it would be some sort of pig product, right? Because of the fact that you interacted with something in, obviously, pig-related for breakfast, that you naturally now, the only thing that you want or like throughout the day is bacon. And what's happening is that the divisive nature, I guess the split right now is that, this just happened recently where I try to stay out of these political conversations on Facebook. But I had a family member post something that was pretty emotional about the recent, obviously, gun violence and school shooting in Parkland, and I had got involved and made a comment, and then for the next week in my feed, like the only rhetoric that I see, and based upon kind of the way that I made my statement with intent, I was served content that was either left or right, politically driven, divisive by nature. And look, at the end of the day, when you watch shows like, if you're a CNN or you're Fox, I don't care if you're liberal or you're conservative, the fact of the matter is that you either listen or watch Rush Limbaugh because it validates your own beliefs at this particular time. Like, very few of us will go over and say, oh, I wonder what the other side's saying today, and then we get angry and we yell at the radio or the TV and we change the channel. The bulk of the listeners that listen consistently to these places give validation to their own beliefs. Facebook, the reason why that Facebook's had this huge play in all of this mix politically is because of the fact that once we click, like, share, engage, or make a comment one way or another, it starts to take us down this significant rabbit hole that continues to validate and perpetuate the belief even more. And that's been my experience with Facebook here, is that I'm logging in and I'm seeing things consistently over and over again, organically even, that I don't even want to see. Like, I wonder if some of my friends have fallen off the flat earth into the abyss, because it's like, do they even still exist? Now, obviously, there's different ways to set your Facebook feed up to clean it up just a little bit, but everything that you end up interacting with becomes another bullet point. Am I the only one? Beth, Joanna, Dr. Mike, what has been your, Jay, what are you thinking right now with Facebook? Because I know from a marketing perspective, it's very easy. I am looking at Facebook advertising is a great opportunity. It's still a really good deal. Facebook lead ads have been very good, but this is even out of that Facebook conversation. Do you refrain from the political conversations or things that potentially at this point, that you're just going to get, and so yeah, I'm not a fan. That's me personally. I'm not, right, and and I don't like living with the labels as well. So it's really an interesting place. I might do a little social experiment myself with making some comments, both conservative and liberal by nature, and see what types of content I get. But then again, it just creates a whole shitstorm of activity when you're talking anything at all, because anymore it's just the nature of the platform. Well, I'm going to keep my eyes open on that. Anyone else wants to leave a comment, please do in the comments below. Last but not least, the funny thing is, I have a family member and I are friends, but I don't like her posts, so I see nothing. Yeah, exactly, right? So you've got people that are in your family that are posting stuff. Some of my family has told way too much information on Facebook and has caused me to unfollow them. But that's a whole different story of passive-aggressive behavior on Facebook. And, yeah, so ads are blowing up as well. And I would agree with that. And I think you're going to end up seeing more ads. What was interesting today when I was scrolling through my Facebook feed is I saw nothing but videos, which is interesting because I was blowing through the videos and then I stopped on the static content. So now we're living in this space where everybody that's an expert, right? I don't even call myself that. But everybody that's got expertise in Facebook marketing is saying video's hot. You need to do video. So now when you go through Facebook, everything that you're seeing is video. So you'll start to see the shiny new toy come out again, and people will be like, oh, I think high-end pictures are going to work. Yeah, absolutely. Facebook is controlling the world of what we see. What's really scary, has anybody got this notification recently about facial recognition? So if you logged into Facebook recently, you probably got a notification about the Facebook facial recognition settings. And there's a lot of different things that I believe are going on with facial recognition that will be based upon software programs that are obviously scrubbing your profile. And they're going to show you pictures of yourself. And when you're in other people's photos in your feed, their so-called attempt at improving that. But on the other side of that, I think that it has a huge marketing implication that's a little bit scary. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm going to wrap this up. If you've got, again, keep leaving comments. That's great. We love the interaction, the engagement that we get. We're going to run a March Madness contest. If you want to win a $2,500 sponsorship to DOYOLive, woo, that's awesome. I love college hoops. We were talking about basketball the other day in my house. This is kind of like the humble brag, but I played college basketball, Division II, at Walsh University in Canton, Ohio. Big shout out to the alma mater. And it was a great 4 years of being a part of something that was, team oriented. My kids asked a question about college basketball the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to be watching a lot of college basketball, Dad. It's March. You're going to." And I really dig in. Like since I've been about literally, like I can remember skipping school. The statute of limitations have passed, by the way. So elementary school, I remember going home, being at my grandparents' house in Lowville, Ohio, and big shout out to them too. They can't hear me, but they passed away this time, both of them collectively as a freshman and senior in high school. So remembering them this week as well. But I would leave school. My grandmother would let me come to her house to hang out, even in like 5th, 6th grade, to literally watch college basketball. And I immediately was hooked when Dwayne Pearl Washington from Syracuse University just went ballistic in the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden. And I just saw a dribbling expedition and him drop like 35 points in a game that I was immediately hooked. So that just like got me it was set. I was in the March Madness, made basketball my passion, lived it every day. Went on to play college basketball. Turns out that less than 1%, or I guess it's like 1% of high school basketball players end up playing basketball in college, which was kind of cool to look up that stat and share that with my kids just the other day. So what we're going to do is March Madness Bracketology. We're going to launch this. It happens after the selection show in about 2 weeks. We'll launch it on a Monday on all of our social media platforms and on our email list. And you'll have an opportunity to fill out a bracket, interact, and engage with us. And the winner takes all a $2,500 sponsorship to DOYOLive, which will get you 2 tickets, a booth, logo on the website, signage, and event in your business in the program as well. If you win, the contest is actually being sponsored by our Kashmiri and Associates. They've been very good to us over the past couple of years. And Ray and his group are stepping up. They're healthcare benefits providers. So look for that contest, $2,500 on the line. Otherwise, that's it. It's Friday. I'm out. The DOYO at the DeYor. Remember that. Thanks so much for giving us a home, DeYor, coming to you this summer. And we are super stoked about it. Next week, we are announcing our keynote and breakout session leaders. DOYOLive early bird tickets are on sale for $150 until April 30th. Then the price goes up. Use the promo code DOYO 2018. Save $10 on tickets today. I'll catch you all later. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.